For recursion mystery 4, we're given code and a parameter, and we need to find the output. For this code, we're given the parameter 2, so we need to look at our else if statements, and we notice that 2 falls into this else if statement. So we're going to go through this code. We can see that we have a recursion right here, and our parameter, we're going to pass in 2. We have to subtract 1 from it, so when we put it back to run it through the code again, we are going to have the value 1. And in doing this, we go into our if statement right here. And we're just going to sys out a star. So that's all it's asking us to do. We're just going to print out a star. Once we're done with our base case, we have to go back into our code because there's lines of code underneath our recursion part, and we're going to outprint another star. And that is the answer for number 1. We're going to skip number 2 and 3 because those are quite similar, and we're going to go to the harder ones, which are 6 and 9. So if we're passing the parameter 6, we need to be in our else statement because our end is not less than or equal 1, and it does not equal 2. So in our else statement, we see that we have a parenthesis, and then we have a recursion. In our recursion, we get our parameter, which is 6. We have to pass it in with the subtraction of 2, so that's going to be 4 as our parameter. We still need to be in our else statement since it does not fall into our if or else if statements. And we need to print out another parenthesis, and then we're going to hit our recursion. We're passing in 4. We have to subtract 2, that's going to give us a 2. And now we are going into our else if category. With 2 is equal to 2, we are just going to go into our recursion again this time. However, this time we are going to have our 2. Passing it in, we have to subtract 1, and we're going to get 1. And we are going to be in our if statement. So we're going to hit our base case. Since we've hit our base case, we are going to output a star. Now we need to go back in our code from here because there's code underneath, and we see that we have this sys out right here that we need to look at. All it is a star, so we're just going to output a star like this. From here, we need to go back in our 2 part and look at the code underneath here. We can see that it is just a parenthesis, and the same thing for this part. If we go back into here, we can see it's just a parenthesis, and that's going to be our output. For this last part, we're past the parameter of 9. We are first going to be in our else statement, and we are going to need to print out a parenthesis. We're going to hit our recursion method, so we are passing in a 9. Subtracting 2 is going to give us a 7. So now we're dealing with a 7. We are still going to be in our else statement. We can see this because it's not qualified for our if and else if statement. So it defaults into the else statement. After we print out our parenthesis and then pass it into the method, we are going to get a 5. Still in our else statement, we have to go through, put another parenthesis, and we are going to pass in 5, subtract 2, and we're going to get a 3. From here, we are going to print out another parenthesis, and we need our 3 here. Plug it back in, subtract 2, we're going to get a 1. Now we've hit our base case right here. Since we hit our if, we can take the 1, we can print out the star like this, and then just run it back through the code. Since these are all the same, since they're all else statements, we can just look at them and see that we have to run it back once. We have to run it back a second time right here. So we're just going to need another parenthesis, a third time, and then a 4th time. So we're going to need 2 more parentheses. So 4 parentheses on each side and 1 star in the middle is the answer.